Hello and welcome to the Orthodox View, where we discuss latest religious news from an Orthodox Christian perspective. I am its host, Philip Champion. We have decided to devote today's episode to the predictions of events and trends of the new year 2022 in the Christian world. The past year was rich with news, and we're sure that the year 2022 will also bring a lot of interesting things. So, without further ado, here are the top predictions for the upcoming year according to the Orthodox View. Meeting of the Patriarch and the Pope. One of the main events of 2022 for the entire Christian world may be the meeting of the Primate of the Russian Orthodox Church, His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all Russia, and His Holiness Pope Francis of the Roman Catholic Church. The head of the Moscow Patriarchate's Department for External Church Relations, Metropolitan Hilarion of Volkolamsk, met with Pope Francis at the Vatican on December 22nd. Following the talks, he said that the meeting would be held on a neutral territory. Its main topic will focus on how must Christians survive in a world that is becoming more and more hostile towards them. We're talking not only about the Middle East and Africa, but also about Europe. Interestingly enough, the heads of the largest Christian churches do not plan to discuss any theological topics. The previous meeting of Patriarch Kirill and Pope Francis took place in February 2016 in Havana. Amman 2. The Orthodox world is also expecting a new meeting in the so-called Amman format. On February 26, 2022, the heads of the local Orthodox churches responded to the call of the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Theophilus III, and arrived in the capital of Jordan. The meeting of the heads and representatives of the local churches was the first stage in overcoming the schism in the Orthodox world. Representatives of the churches then discussed issues of preserving church unity, noted serious disagreements between local churches, and warned of the danger of a deep schism in the Orthodox world. COVID restrictions prevented local church representatives from meeting in the past year. However, a dialogue to bridge the rift is expected in 2022. The numbers of Christians are decreasing. Christians are truly becoming the world's most oppressed religious group. In the Middle East, in many African countries, there is real genocide of the Christian population. Moreover, the negative trend has reached Europe. There have been more frequent attacks on churches, desecration of shrines, attacks and even murders of Christian priests. 340 million Christians around the world are being persecuted, threatened, and killed. The figure has grown by almost 100 million in 2 years. These are the data of the Global Index for Persecuted Christians from the Open Doors Research Association. According to various researchers, this is precisely the reason for the sharp decrease in the number of Christians around the world and even in Europe. There is evidence that from the years 2015 to 2020, the number of Christians in Europe decreased by 8.2 million. In light of this, the trend for a sharp increase in the number of Muslims is becoming more noticeable. According to rough estimates, Islam will become the most popular religion in the world by 2060 and overtake Christianity by 32%. There are prerequisites for this. Residents of some European countries believe that Muslims are already ousting Christians. For example, this was the opinion of 60% of the surveyed French. Will the large-scale persecution of Christians ever stop? And how will the migration policy develop in Europe? I guess we'll see in 2022. People's values and priorities. In the digital age, the rapidly transforming world is changing not only the usual way of life, but also the values of people. The gap between generations and the overthrow of family values as the basis of survival is now being experienced by all countries of the so-called First World. The institutions of the Church, it would seem, were supposed to be on guard of family and children, but neither in the Catholic nor in the Protestant churches can one find clear and definite answers to many controversial challenges of Western society. If Catholic or Protestant Christians, under pressure from society, begin to voice quite specific permissive rhetoric in relation to, for example, same-sex marriages or abortions, then what effect will it have on the rest of Christians? What answer will be given by the Orthodox Church? And if it seems to some that such a rapid public change in values will not affect us, then we are forced to say that it will affect everyone, because between the change in values and visible social changes, there is a time gap of only some 30 to 40 years. An illustrative example is the attitude towards homosexuality. In the 1960s, homosexuality was not accepted as a norm in the United States and most Western countries. And already in 2001, the Netherlands became the first country to legalize same-sex marriage. Values change, and laws change with them. A new generation that has been raised according to the new values will be the driver of historical changes. Church and the youth. In recent years, the number of young Christians around the world has been declining sharply. The study by the British Catholic University of St. Mary is astounding. For example, in Europe, most young people between ages 16 and 29 consider themselves non-religious. In the Czech Republic alone, this figure is 91% of the young population. In Sweden and the Netherlands, about 80%, and in the UK, 70%. The Russian Orthodox Church is also concerned about the departure of young people from faith. Speaking 2 weeks ago at a meeting of the Moscow Diocese, His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all Russia said the following: "It is with pain in our hearts that we observe how the faith of a teenager may weaken, or how they sometimes may leave the Church, despite the previous positive experience." The Patriarch considers it natural and reasonable for young people to strive for freedom in their actions, for independence in decision-making, and for adolescents to demand respectful attitude towards themselves. He urged the clergy, when communicating with adolescents, to remember themselves at this age. What will happen to Christendom if the modern youth decides to step away from faith completely? Perhaps we shall see. But for now, this is the end of this episode. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on the Orthodox View.